All right, welcome back, everyone. Ready for another deep dive.
Absolutely.
Today, we're going to be looking at some real-world business English.
Ooh, fun.
You know, the kind of stuff you hear in like a high-stakes sales meeting or something.
Yeah.
We'll be looking at like vocabularies and some of the key phrases that get thrown around in these situations.
Exactly.
The kind of stuff that, might not be in your textbook, but it's what native speakers actually use.
Right.
So we're going to try to dissect some of that today.
Love it.
And our source material for this deep dive is a scene from an English language learning podcast.
Interesting.
It's actually a role-played meeting, and it gets pretty intense.
Oh, okay.
So we're going to kind of drop you right in the middle of it. So you're in a sales team meeting. Things aren't going very well.
Mm-hmm.
This team is struggling because their product is the most expensive in the market.
Yeah, they're priced higher than all their competitors.
Which is a tough spot to be in.
Yeah, no kidding.
And to make matters worse, their boss, Clark, he's not exactly the most supportive leader, let's just say that.
Oh, boy.
So picture this. The team is trying to brainstorm solutions, and one member, Roger, suggests lowering prices to match the competition.
Interesting.
Seems logical, right? As a first step?
Yeah, on the surface, for sure.
But it's interesting to see how Clark reacts.
Oh.
He shuts Roger down immediately.
Really?
Yeah, and he says, "It'll never fly with Swan."
Ooh, strong words.
Swan is the CEO.
Okay, got it.
And that phrase, "it'll never fly," it's just so dismissive,
Totally.
It's like he didn't even consider it for a second.
Wow.
And it kind of gives us a glimpse into his whole management style,
Definitely.
It makes you wonder, like, is he truly skeptical? Or is it more about, how it would look to the CEO?
Mm-hmm. That's a good point.
Like, maybe he knows something we don't about the profit margins. I don't know.
Right.
But it's that delivery. It's so blunt,
Yeah.
It just makes you wonder how that impacts the team's morale.
Absolutely. If you're constantly getting shut down like that without any explanation, it can really stifle creativity,
Totally. Like, would you be eager to share your ideas?
Not at all.
Right. After seeing that kind of reaction?
Nope.
Probably not.
Yeah.
So then another team member, Natalie, jumps in.
Okay.
And she proposes a promotion.
Okay, what kind of promotion?
Like maybe a 2-for-1 deal or something,
Mm-hmm.
Something to drive sales.
Oh, yeah. Drive sales, that's a big one.
Yeah.
In the business world.
You hear that one all the time, right?
All the time. I mean, driving sales, that's the goal for any business that wants to, grow and be successful.
Exactly.
So it makes sense that she would bring that up.
And it's interesting, because her suggestion, she's not just trying to compete on price.
Right.
She's thinking about like adding value and creating that sense of urgency for customers.
Right. Exactly.
Which I think is smart.
Very smart.
But so how does Clark react to this idea?
Well, initially, he's just as dismissive
Oh, no.
as he was with Roger.
Okay.
He just calls it a bad idea, just point blank.
Wow. Good.
Here's where it gets really interesting.
Okay.
The CEO, Mr. Swan, he walks into the meeting unexpectedly.
Awkward.
Oh, yeah. Talk about bad timing, right?
Yeah.
And suddenly, Clark, he completely changes his tune.
What?
Yeah, he takes Natalie's idea and presents it to the CEO as his own.
No way.
Yeah, like it was his brilliant plan all along.
Oh, wow. That is like classic power move.
Totally.
But also, come on, kind of unethical.
Right. You can't just take someone else's idea.
It's got to be so demoralizing for the team.
Oh, absolutely.
Imagine, you're working hard.
Yeah.
Coming up with a solution, and then your boss just steals it.
And then, takes all the credit.
To impress his own boss.
Right.
Like that just creates this culture of fear and distrust,
It's toxic.
Yeah. And in the long run, that can really hurt a company.
Absolutely. If people are afraid to speak up, how can they innovate?
Right.
How can they stay competitive?
Hey.
You need that open dialogue.
Okay, so we've got this whole scene playing out.
Yeah.
I think it's worth taking a closer look at some of these key phrases that we've heard.
Okay, yeah.
So let's start with match the competitors.
All right.
Now it might seem pretty straightforward.
Yeah.
But there's actually like more to it than meets the eye,
Right. It's not just about copying the prices.
Right.
It's about understanding the whole market.
Yeah.
And making strategic decisions based on what your rivals are doing.
Exactly.
You have to be smart about it.
And speaking of the market, I mean, we hear that all the time in business, right?
Oh, yeah.
The market, but like, what does that actually mean?
Right. It's not a literal farmer's market.
No, exactly. So what are we talking about here?
Well, the market refers to the bigger picture. all the buyers and sellers for a specific product or service.
Okay.
So when Roger says their product is the most expensive in the market, he's saying that compared to everyone else selling similar stuff, theirs is priced higher.
Got it. Yeah.
So it really highlights the challenge they're facing.
Doesn't it?
Yeah, they're not just trying to sell a product. They're trying to convince customers to pay a premium.
Right, which is hard.
Which is never easy.
No, not at all.
And that's where understanding your target audience becomes super important. You need to know why they'd choose you over the cheaper option.
Why would they pay more?
Yeah. Is it the quality?
Extra features.
Unique features?
Yeah.
Is it the brand? Do people trust your brand?
Right, okay.
That all comes into play.
So, okay, now let's unpack Clark's dismissive response. It'll never fly with Swan. I mean, that phrase, it's not just a simple no, right?
No, it's way more than that.
There's like a lot of weight behind it.
It implies that Clark is worried about what Swan will think.
Right.
He's anticipating a negative reaction.
Yeah.
And doesn't want to be associated with an idea that might fail.
That's really interesting because that kind of brings up, a bigger point about workplace dynamics, doesn't it?
For sure.
We see this all the time. Where people make decisions based on, like, how they think it will be perceived by those in power.
Absolutely.
Not necessarily on what they actually think is best.
It happens all the time.
Yeah, and it speaks to this, like, importance of fostering a culture where people feel safe to share their ideas, even if they might not, immediately align with the boss's perspective.
Right.
Okay, so now we come to Natalie's suggestion of using a promotion to drive sales. We see this all the time.
Oh, yeah.
And it can be really effective. But what does it actually mean to drive sales?
Well, it's about taking those proactive steps to increase revenue.
Right. So you're not just sitting back.
Right. It's not passive. It's about creating campaigns that encourage people to buy.
To take action.
Yeah, to make that purchase.
And like a promotion, like, the 2-for-1 that Natalie suggested, that's a classic way to do that, right?
Absolutely. It creates that sense of urgency and value.
Yeah.
You're giving customers a reason to buy now.
Right.
Not later.
Yeah.
And that can be super effective.
But, okay, the big question here is, why did Clark initially dismiss her idea?
Yeah.
Only to then present it as his own?
Yeah, that's the million-dollar question.
Right.
I think it reveals a lot about his leadership style and how he interacts with his team.
Yeah.
It's almost as if he was waiting for the opportunity to take ownership of an idea that he thought would impress Swan.
Yeah.
CEO.
It's a fascinating little insight.
It is.
Into how power dynamics play out.
In the workplace.
Yeah, but let's dive into that a little deeper.
Okay.
After a quick break, we'll be right back.
Clark's behavior, it really makes you think about the difference between, like, leadership and management.
Oh, that's a great point.
Yeah.
I think a lot of people, they kind of use those terms interchangeably.
Yeah, they do.
But there's a pretty crucial distinction.
Oh, absolutely.
So, like, what's the difference?
Well, management is more about, maintaining order and efficiency.
Okay.
Making sure everything runs smoothly.
Right.
But leadership, it's about inspiring people, motivating them, empowering them to, reach their full potential.
Yeah. And in this case, it seems like Clark's more focused on, like, managing up,
Oh, yeah.
impressing his boss rather than actually leading his team.
Exactly. And that can create such a toxic environment.
Totally.
Where people feel undervalued and like they're hesitant to, contribute their ideas.
Yeah, it's no wonder this team is struggling.
Right.
To come up with a solution.
Yeah, with that kind of pressure.
Makes you wonder if, like, Clark even realizes the impact of his actions.
That does make you wonder.
Like,
right?
Yeah, maybe he got a pat on the back from the CEO.
Yeah.
But at what cost?
Exactly.
It might have just totally crushed his team's spirit.
Right. And in the long run, that kind of behavior can lead to, high turnover, decreased productivity, lack of innovation.
Because if people don't feel valued, they're not going to be invested in the company's success.
They're going to check out.
Yeah.
Mentally, if not physically.
It's a shame because Natalie's idea, the promotion, that could have been huge.
Yeah, I could have.
I mean, think about all the different ways you can drive sales.
Oh, yeah.
With promotions.
Totally. You've got your discounts, like the 2-for-1.
Yeah, bundles.
Yeah.
Free gifts.
Limited time offers.
Oh, yeah.
So many options.
The possibilities are endless.
It really depends on the company.
Right.
And their goals.
And the key is, like you said, understanding your target audience.
Exactly.
And what would actually motivate them.
Right. What's going to get them to buy.
Yeah, because what works for one group might not work for another.
Totally different demographic.
So, okay, let's say you're in charge of driving sales.
Okay.
For a company. What are some things you would consider when choosing a promotion?
Well, first I'd look at our overall sales goals.
Okay.
Are we trying to increase brand awareness or clear out old inventory?
Right.
Attract new customers?
Yeah.
Once I know the objective, then I can start brainstorming promotion ideas that align with that goal.
So it's all about having a strategy.
Exactly.
It's not just randomly throwing a promotion out there.
Right. Got to be intentional.
Hoping it sticks.
Yeah.
Okay, that makes sense.
You got to have a plan.
I'd also think about, the cost.
Oh, yeah, for sure. The cost of the promotion. The potential return on investment.
Right. Got to make sure it's actually worth it.
And the impact on brand perception.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah, you don't want to run a promotion. That makes your brand look cheap.
Right, or desperate.
Exactly.
Yeah, that's a good point.
Got to protect that brand image.
And timing, too, right?
Oh, yeah, timing is everything.
Certain promotions might be more effective during specific seasons.
For sure, a back-to-school promotion wouldn't make sense in December.
Exactly.
Got to be relevant.
So it's all about understanding your customers.
Yes.
Their buying habits, what motivates them.
Knowing your audience is key.
Okay, so we've talked about driving sales and the strategies involved, but I want to go back to something you said earlier about the difference between leadership and management.
Yes.
Can you elaborate on that a bit more?
Sure. Think of it this way. A manager tells people what to do.
Yep.
A leader inspires them to do it.
I like that.
A manager focuses on tasks and processes. A leader focuses on people and vision.
Okay, so in the context of this sales meeting, what could Clark have done differently?
To be a better leader.
Yeah.
Well, instead of shutting down Roger and Natalie, he could ask questions to encourage more discussion.
Okay, give me an example.
With Roger, he could have said something like, Roger, I hear your concerns about pricing. Can you tell me more about why you think matching the competitors would be the best solution? What kind of impact do you think it would have on our profit margins?
Well, that's good. That's a good example.
Showing that he's listening.
Yeah.
That he values Roger's input. That he's open to exploring different perspectives.
Yeah. I like that approach.
It's more collaborative.
And with Natalie's idea, instead of just, dismissing it, he could have said, Natalie, I appreciate you thinking outside the box. A promotion could be a great way to drive sales, but I'm a little concerned about how it might affect our brand image. Can you walk me through your thinking on that?
Exactly. Showing that he's taking her ideas seriously, even if he doesn't fully agree.
Right. And it creates that safe space you were talking about before.
Exactly. Where people feel comfortable sharing their thoughts. And contributing to the solution.
A good leader knows they don't have all the answers.
Yeah, that's right.
And that the best ideas often come from collaboration and open dialogue.
Couldn't have said it better myself.
And this is something that, we as listeners, we could apply to our own lives, too.
Absolutely.
Whether we're in a leadership position or not.
Doesn't matter your role.
We can all strive to be better communicators.
Yes.
More open to different perspectives. And just create those environments where people feel safe.
Safe to share.
Share
their thoughts without judgment.
And if you're in a leadership position, take a moment to reflect on your own style.
How are you communicating? Are you creating that safe space?
Are you really listening?
Are you valuing your team's input?
Right, because effective leadership, it's not about taking credit.
No.
It's about empowering others.
Letting them shine, reach their potential.
So we've seen how a seemingly simple phrase, match the competitors, can open up this whole conversation.
Right.
About market dynamics and strategy. We've also seen how, a boss's reaction, whether it's it'll never fly or
that's a great idea,
could have a huge impact on a team's creativity and morale.
And that phrase, drive sales, it's not just about, numbers,
Right.
It's about really understanding your audience, crafting that perfect message. Finding those creative ways to stand out, you know?
Because the market is crowded.
It is. So you got to be different.
It's like we peeled back the layers of like this simple sales meeting and discovered all these insights about leadership, communication, what it takes to succeed in business. It's fascinating.
It is. It all comes back to language.
Yeah.
The words we choose, the tone, it all has an impact.
Powerful stuff.
And especially when it comes to leadership.
Absolutely. So as we wrap up this deep dive, I want to leave you with something to think about.
Okay.
Imagine you're back in that meeting with Clark, Roger, and Natalie.
Right.
What would you have done differently?
Ooh, good question.
Like if you were Roger or Natalie, would you have pushed back at all?
Against Clark?
Yeah, on his like dismissive attitude.
It's tough, you know?
It is. It is.
Because you want to be respectful.
Right.
But you also want to be heard.
Right. And how would you frame your ideas?
Yeah, that's the key.
To resonate with him? In
a way that he'll actually listen.
And if you were Clark, how would you have approached this situation?
Would you have been more open?
Yeah.
To their suggestions.
Yeah. How could you have fostered that more? Like collaborative and supportive environment?
It's a great thought experiment.
It is. Yeah.
You know, to think about how you'd navigate those tricky workplace dynamics.
Because we've all been there.
We have.
You've all encountered a Clark.
At some point. Yeah.
Whether it's a boss, a coworker, a client.
You're going to come across people who challenge your ideas.
Or make you feel like your voice isn't being heard.
Right. And the key is remember that you do have a voice.
You do.
And it's important to use it.
Absolutely.
Don't be afraid to speak up.
Yeah.
Share your perspective.
Advocate for your ideas.
Be your own advocate.
And if you're in a leadership position, reflect on your communication style.
Yeah. Are you creating that space?
That safe space?
For open dialogue?
Are you truly listening to your team?
Valuing their input.
Yeah, because at the end of the day, effective leadership, it's not about dictating orders.
No, it's about empowering others, fostering that collaboration.
That's the key.
Innovation and respect.
That's a lesson we can all learn from.
Absolutely, no matter what your job is.
So thanks for joining us.
Yes, thank you.
On this deep dive into real-world business English.
We hope you learned something.
We hope you gained some insights.
About the language.
About leadership.
And communication.
Until next time, keep exploring, keep learning, and keep those aha moments coming.
We'll see you next time.